I once taught a former missionary this sales system, and she turned into the number two closer at a massive agency. So I'm sharing everything, all the real work on this sales system in hopes that you'll watch it and use it to help your clients and help your business and your family and yourself and your career and everything. So, this is mainly for founders and salespeople and people involved in selling who still might feel like sales is icky or gross, or there's a hidden belief that I need to be a scumbag in order to be good at this. So, I want to put that fear to rest and to give you the tools to sell your services for a lot of money so that you can help more people and do great work for your clients. And that is a major assumption I'm making about you watching this is that you're doing something worth selling. If you don't do good work, if you aren't delivering something of excellent quality, then please stop watching. This isn't for you. This is for people who actually do something amazing, help clients, and deliver awesome results. So if that's you, then keep watching. Otherwise, I don't want to teach you this kung fu. So if you watch all of this and you want to join a community of people working on this kind of thing, owner, operator, founder, consultants, you make money off of your thoughts and thinking and that kind of thing. I want to help you with all the challenges, not just sales. So join the community, linked in the description and the pinned comment, but that's enough commercial stuff. Let's actually dive into it. Okay. Sales is in my head a series of four things, which is a discovery call, a presentation of the solution, then you've got some negotiating to do, and then follow up because not everybody's going to sign on the dotted line right out the gate. What it isn't is lead generation or demand generation, the smile and dial. I I consider that to be marketing, and demand generation is the outbound cold calling, reaching out to people trying to start a conversation. So again, that's marketing to me, and most companies want their salespeople to be outbound and closers. And those are two separate skills. A lot of times, folks are good at both, but I want the gregarious people who love doors getting closed in their face, outbound, generating conversations to be doing that. If you are great at having conversations and helping people find the right solution to their problem, that's sales to me. And that's really what selling is. It's not pushing, it's not trying to convince somebody of anything. It is working together to find the right decision for your prospect, your lead, your partner, whatever. You're helping them make the best decision. That's why, hopefully, you are their best decision for solving their problem. And sales is the process of helping them clear up any misconceptions about why they shouldn't work with you so that the logical decision is to hire you instead of somebody else. Okay. So that is a decision architecture process, not just a push, 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 buy kind of thing that most people think sales is. So, with all of that having been said, let's just jump in. We'll go through the whole thing. And of course, I'm not going to be able to cover every little detail, uh, biggest of which is kind of how I like to start video sales conversations with hold screens like this, where you can transition and all that kind of stuff. Those tiny details just go a long way to communicating, yeah, I'm good at this. This is what I do. I'm a professional. I know how to navigate this conversation better than you. So I'm the one calling the shots here. If you want to go like that deep into online video sales conversations, again, join the community. But this, I don't want to hold anything back. I want to teach you how to navigate the most difficult sales conversations you could possibly have so that you know exactly how to do it, then it's kind of like you're learning how to win Olympic gold. If you can win the Olympics, if you are now playing at a national level or a regional level or a city level or whatever, you're gonna beat anybody else playing at that level who doesn't know how to win the Olympics. So, we're going to talk about business to business enterprise level sales, which is a lot of money, usually a price tag with a comma or two in it, that there are multiple stakeholders. That's just a fancy way of saying there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen for your deal. You're going to need to present a solution, oftentimes to a room full of people, or one person multiple times, different people every time, or present it to this person, then they're going to go take this to a group of folks on the inside that you never get to meet. Like, that's hard work. Okay. Selling to a single owner operator, if you are doing marketing services, and a lot of this will be through the lens of marketing because those are the companies I've worked with the most, or marketing agencies. So we'll use those as examples. But like, if you work with plumbers, electricians, roofers, that kind of owner operator thing, the guy doing the thing is the guy you're talking to. Sure, you can do one call closes, that's great. But if you try to do a one call close on an enterprise level deal, you're silently communicating that, yeah, I don't know how to handle an enterprise level project. Therefore, I'm going to freak you out. You won't even know you're freaking them out, but you're going to freak them out, and then that's why you can't ever close deals like that. So part of my background working with sales with agencies is that it was an agency that got big selling to those owner operators, and the whole sales team would like high five on one call closes, and they were like, yeah, I got another one. But they were actually really good at marketing, and they were good at marketing themselves, so the size opportunities that they were getting on the calendar kept getting bigger and bigger. And then everybody in the sales team was doing what they knew to do, which is ask, where do you hope the business is in 3 years? What are your hopes and dreams? Why won't that get there? And emotional leverage, and then try to close the deal and be like, so if we get you on the dotted line today, we could do 20% discount, all that kind of stuff. Well, no wonder they were losing all those enterprise level deals. So I taught them this system, and then their average deal size jumped. The sales cycles closed, like, got a lot shorter for those kinds of opportunities. And then that became the default sales, like, deal size. No longer was it the couple $100. It was just like, holy cow, this is a $10,000 a month opportunity that I just landed. Holy crap, that's awesome. Okay, so this can completely revolutionize your entire business. There was one guy who I was teaching this to in a multi-week cohort, and we were just like 1 or 2 weeks in, and he was like, "I just closed the biggest deal of my entire career using what I already know." So that feels good. If you get something like that from this, please let me know in the comments. Shoot me a note. I want to hear that this is doing good in the world. So, okay. First things first, discovery call. I loathe that discovery call has reached the outside view of the world. Um, Everybody and their mom, especially consultants, are now being like, here's my link for a discovery call. Nobody wants a discovery call. It just feels like I'm going to discover all your secrets and all your pain. And like, I don't like that. So we will call it a discovery call because for us, we want to discover whether we can help them or not. And if so, can they pay for it? And if yes, are they still somebody I want giving me money? Because that's a intimate relationship. So I don't want to work with everybody that I can help and can pay me. So it's like, do I want to work with you? Yes, no, maybe. Okay, cool. So that's what we're discovering. But for the prospect, the person booking the meeting with you, What are they discovering? Like, that makes no sense. So please, if you mention discovery call on the discovery call or in the booking process, please stop. Call it something else. But we're going to call it the discovery call. Okay, so that is the mission of a discovery call. We are discovering if they've got the problem we can solve or the company can solve. Do they have the budget to solve it? And do we want them as a client? Because if not, again, it's real expensive to hire somebody you don't like working with. And even if you are on a sales team and delivery is doing the work, if you sign known jerks and people that are awful, then the delivery team is not going to help you out when you need it because you're the guy that always sends them the jerks. So, yeah, but I understand. Your job is to close, let them sort it out. I get it. But if you are a owner, operator, consultant, you're selling and delivering the work too, well, get a couple nightmare clients and then you'll see it's not worth it. So that's the job of the discovery call. You're discovering if you can help them. How do we do that? We have a conversation. Okay, a conversation is back and forth. So, how do we start? Well, most sales programs are like people buy from the people they know, like, and trust. So, you got to build rapport. That means using their name. Hi, Jonathan. How you doing today, Jonathan? Jonathan, good to see you, Jonathan. I was looking you up, Jonathan. And it's super gross. I hate it. And it's just kind of like, oh, a robot read use people's names, so I'm going to use people's names, and then it's super off-putting. Everybody knows what you're doing. Stop doing it. It's awful. Also, most sales courses teach you, oh, you got to build rapport, find some common ground, some shared information or shared interest that communicates to them that you're trustworthy. I hate that too. Okay, because everybody knows why you're trying to butter me up. I know why. So, where are you calling today from? Or, oh, the mountains of North Carolina. I hear it's beautiful up there. Yes, it is. That's why I live here. So, you know what engenders goodwill more than trying to fake my interests? Because I know for a fact you're not interested in the same stuff as me because I'm super weird. So stop it. You're wasting my time. And the people who have the biggest opportunities are busy people. They don't have time to chit chat about stuff. And also, in the worst situations, in the worst times, I've seen so many salespeople find genuine, interesting common ground to talk about, and then spend 30 minutes of a 45-minute call talking about the cousins. And, oh, yeah, I used to visit there all the time on summer break, and oh, I've got such great memories. Is that diner still there? Oh, I got my first kiss at that. Nobody cares. And then you have a new friend, but you lost the deal because you now don't have enough time to find out if they've got the problem, the budget, and the rapport to actually hire you. So please stop. Here's what you do instead. I can hear you wondering, well, what do we do instead? Well, you know what's cool to me and what will make me like you? Stop wasting my time. So the call starts and then they drop in and you make sure that you wait until their microphone is on and it goes live. Okay, because a lot of times the mic will be connected, but it's muted, and then you see it unmute after it unmutes, but before they have a chance of going, hello, is there anybody there? You then say, sounds like you made it because you can hear them because maybe you don't turn on the video. And I don't advise that you auto enable video for your calls. You'll get enough surprises to realize why you shouldn't do that. So, speaking from experience, unless you like bizarre situations and some weird stuff you're going to see, turn off the video automatically. Anyway, you say, sounds like you made it. Then they're going to be like, oh, I did. And then you go, great. I hope you don't mind. I know you've got a lot going on and I want to respect your time. So, how about we just dive right in? Oh my god. Yeah. You know what? I would love if you started talking it for me. Oh, this would be great. Yeah. Let's go. So if you just cut straight to it and be like, we all know why we're here, and I want to spend as much time focused on you and helping understand what you got going on so that I can help you out if I can, and if not, point you in the right direction. Great. That's what I see this conversation being. So to that end, I'm going to ask you a whole bunch of nosy questions. They're basically three people that you got to be honest with: your lawyer, your doctor, and your marketing consultant. So, that I'm going to ask you a lot of nosy questions to really get a good picture of what you got going on, what you want to accomplish in the next however long, and why now. So, I'm going to turn it over to you. Just fill me in on what I couldn't see from the outside, because I did spend some time checking out the website, your LinkedIn. You probably saw me drop by. So I'm not starting from scratch, and I got some ideas already, but I want to make sure that it's calibrated to what you're facing right now. So, yeah, fill me in. What are you doing? Why now? What have you been trying? Why hasn't it worked? All that kind of stuff. Okay. What does that do? That communicates that you care about them. You care about them enough that you've come prepared. Now, when you say, I've got some ideas, the idea might be maybe they could hire me. Okay, that's all it has to be. But when you check out their website, it's going to tell you a lot. Um, how well prepared they are for business in the 21st century. Do they have social links in the footer of their website? If not, then probably missing out on a lot of marketing opportunities. You would be surprised at how many people have a Wix website or a Squarespace website, and then the social links are hashtag Squarespace, hashtag Wix. They didn't even put in their own details. Okay, so I'm going to try not to get into the marketing stuff, but you get the picture. But you are gonna look at their website. You're gonna look at their profile, so you know who it is that you're talking to. And you do have some ideas based on what you've seen, based on your experience talking to folks like this. You already have a good idea of what they need. They need to hire you, but they don't know that yet, okay? But all you're doing is saying, "I take my job so serious that I show up prepared. I'm not just winging this. I'm not just going through a form. I'm not just asking you the checkbox questions. I care enough to have come prepared," because you don't want them to say, I don't know if you looked at the website or not. I don't know if you, okay? You want to tell them up front before they get a chance to say, I don't know if you did that. And then you go, oh, yeah, no, I did look at it. Well, you don't get any extra credit for being lazy and not doing your homework, okay? I don't advise that you do more than 3 to 5 minutes max of research on the person you're about to talk with. Why? Because if your marketing and booking process is tight, and you're solving a really valuable problem, and you're trustworthy at doing it, your no show rate will be near zero, but it could still happen. And I don't want you spending 40 minutes building this whole presentation before you've ever even had a call to discover whether or not you could help them or not. Because now that 40 minutes could have been spent making a reel for Instagram or YouTube or whatever. You could have been doing something more valuable than wasting that time. So don't do it. Okay. So you are communicating, I care about you enough to have done my homework, but instead of blabbing at you, fill me in. And also, I'm going to be asking you those nosy questions. That's permission to ask all those nosy questions that it feels real awkward to ask a perfect stranger, like, how much money you got and are you going to give it to me? All right. So you want to get permission to ask those nosy questions instead of assuming you do or feeling weird about, here comes the nosy questions. You could then say instead, here comes those nosy questions I told you I was going to ask you. And they go, okay, here we go. So you've just set the frame of what this conversation is about. I'm not here to push. I'm not here to sell. I'm here to understand you. If I can help you, cool. We'll talk about that. If not, I don't want to leave you hanging. I want to be able to recommend somebody who might be able to help you better better than me. And if your marketing has been good, you're not wasting your time talking to people you can't help. So, anyway, so you turn it over to them, and then they're going to spend the next 10 minutes, 20 minutes, who knows how long, they're going to finally feel like, oh, I'm talking to somebody who gets it. And you should, because if you solve their problem that they've got, you're going to understand a lot about it. Okay. So they're going to share so much stuff. But for you, because you're an expert at what you do, you're an expert at solving this problem, you know all the ways that this problem shows up. So their situation, you've seen it 100, 1,000 times. The details of their situation might change, but the problems and the way that those problems show up in their business are going to be exactly the same every single time, right? Maybe a handful of variations, but that's it. Okay. What that allows you to do is to hear a lot more than they ever believe you could hear. And I mean that of, okay, so why are we here? Well, my grandpa started the business and then handed it off to my dad, but I'm the only one who knows how to post to Facebook. So now I'm the marketing manager, but I have no clue what's going on. I don't know how to run ads. I have no clue. I need marketing help. Okay. But it might be my grandpa started it in 1954, handed it off to my dad in 1976, and then I got it 6 months ago and all this stuff. All right. So that pattern of grandpa started it, dad has kept it alive, but now I'm in charge and I don't know what I'm doing is a pattern you're going to see. Okay. So you're not hearing that for the first time, but you remember, oh, it's 1956, 1974, or whatever those dates were. So the fact that you understand the big picture allows you to tag those details way faster than anybody ever believes. So then they're talking about this, and then you go, so if you don't know how to run ads, like you've been boosting posts before, right? Like throwing $5 here, $5 there, and they go, yeah, that's exactly what I've been doing. How do you know to say that? Because you're an expert at the problem. Okay. So they're telling you, and then you can, yes, I understand. And you've probably got this going too. And they go, oh my God, I do. That's incredible. He understands my situation better than I do. That's incredible. At that point, they're going to automatically believe that you can solve the problem because you understand it better than I do. And I'm the one living this situation. Okay. So you ask them those nosy questions and be like, so how much money have you thrown at solving the problem? Oh, if you've been working with that team, why are you talking to me? Like, what is it about that's not so good? That's a really nosy question. So why are you trying to leave your current service provider? Why hasn't it worked? Well, they might say something absolutely bonkers like, I've been through 8 agencies in the past 6 months and nobody has been able to solve this. Well, bub, 8 agencies, you're the only common denominator here. So that's a huge red flag to you. Okay. Because actually, I loved this situation when people would be like, oh, I've been through 7 service providers in 6 months. I would be like, okay, Carl, I want to ask you. I'm curious, and I want you to understand this is coming from a place of love, and I want to understand what's going on because 7 service providers in 6 months is a lot. And imagine this was like the dating world, and you were like, oh, I've broken up with 7 people because they're all crazy. Well, um, you're the only common denominator here. Okay, so what I don't want to have happen is for us to date and then you're on the next call being like, I've been with 8 service providers and they've all been crazy. Okay. So why would I not be number 8? Like what's going on here? And then they go, yeah, that good point. Oh yeah, okay. Let's talk through it. Right. Now, this is a detail of why I love video conversations. Audio at minimum, but audio plus video, two ways. Because you could say something horrific like, "No, you're the problem here. You're completely unreasonable. You have no clue how this works. Everybody's been trying to help you, but you're too stupid to realize it." Okay? So you could say horrendous stuff like that, but if it were just chat in a chat bot, you'd be like, "You're heinous and stupid." And you're like, "Ah." So think of it like a comedian on stage. Comedians can say the worst thing, like just the worst stuff. But it's the tone of voice and the body language and the I hesitate to say this, but I gotta ask. So you get a lot more goodwill being able to communicate with full bandwidth of you're reading that I'm not really happy to say this, but I feel compelled to because I have to. It's part of my job. So here we go. That's why video calls are real good. Also, that also reminds me, there's a big push for if you're a coach and you're selling $10,000 or less, don't even have a sales call. Just do a video sales letter or a Google Doc and tell them what the offer is and they'll buy it. Cool. Yes, do that. But again, we're talking about enterprise level B2B sales where you might be selling $1 million worth of something to a whole room full of people. Okay. So I want to help you navigate all of that. All right. But you've started by let's dive straight in. You've interviewed them. What's working, what's not working, why isn't that working to understand their understanding of the problem because they don't understand the problem usually. Because if they did understand the problem, they would have solved it already. And the fact that they've had this issue for more than 6 months and it still hasn't been solved means they don't know what the problem is. They're just really good at experiencing the way that that problem shows up. That's called symptoms. So, all the problems that they're going to tell you are actually ways that the problem is manifesting in their business, their situation, their life, their whatever it is that you work on. So you're going to hear them say problem, but in your mind, you're going to hear symptom. Okay. These symptoms usually have this other symptom showing up. Is it showing up? And they go, my goodness, yes. Okay. So you've grilled them. How much money have you thrown at this? How much does it cost you? How much business are you losing doing this the way that you've been doing it? Oh, you've never thought to add that number up. Well, let's check it out. Do you know the conversion rate of your website? What's a conversion rate? Oh, so you don't know how many people haven't called you because your website's awful. Oh, okay. Right. So you can use those questions to help them understand how little they understand of their own business, and that goes a long way too. But you're going to ask about the business, their career, their personal life. How's it all affecting them? What's their role in solving this problem? You need to understand all of that. A way to do that, a lot of folks are like, so, are you the authority? Can you sign the deal? That is the most douchebag way of doing that. That's basically saying, do I need to pay attention to you or not? Um, don't don't ask them, are you the decision maker? Because what you're asking is, do you have any power? If not, why am I talking to you? Meh. That doesn't feel good. Reminding somebody that they're powerless. If they are powerless, are they going to tell you that? No. No, I'm very important to the blah blah blah. Okay, cool. Well, they do have the power to not pass you along to the real decision maker, and don't you feel stupid for doing that? Okay, so don't do that. Okay, invite them in. Be like, so who else gets to be in on this party? Right? Who else are we going to be talking with? Oh, the owner. I'm here to find 5 providers, but I gotta tell you, out of the 3 I've already talked to, I don't even wanna talk to the 5th one because I feel like we okay, so you can do that. And then that tells you that they don't have the power to sign a deal, but you've gotta treat them like they do because they have the power to make sure the deal never gets to the person that has the power that you really wanna talk to, Okay. So treat everybody like they're the decision maker, but in your mind, I still have more work to do. Okay. So don't treat people like they're unimportant because they are. They're super important. Think of them as the emissary to the king or the emperor or whatever. You don't disrespect the emissary because to disrespect the emissary is to disrespect the emperor, and that's a good way to lose your head. Good way to lose the deal. Don't do it. But when you ask, so who else is going to be in on the party? They'll be like, oh, Steve from finance and Erica from marketing and these guys, and you go, okay, cool. All right. So then you can go, what do they care about? What are they going to want to see? Now you've got a mole inside the organization who's going to help you sell because they now know that you understand their problem better than anybody they've talked to. So you're probably their best chance at solving this, which makes them look like a rock star for having found you. That's cool. I can't mess this up. And he's going to help me look like $1 million. So I want I want to minimize the chances of me messing this up. So when you go, so how can I help you look like $1 million on the inside? They're going to go, well, Steve wants to know about this. He said that we're only going to spend this much, but I know that it's going to be more than that. So I'm going to need to help convince him. This person cares about that. This person cares about that. Okay. Roughly, the CEO cares about vision. Where's the company going? What's our impact on the future of our mission? Okay, cool. Then you've got the CFO, the person that wants the spreadsheet. The numbers need to add up. I'm going to need to see a return on investment over how much time. Okay, cool. So, number cruncher dude needs some spreadsheets and some case studies showing that you've helped people in exactly that situation solve it. Okay, neat. Then you need legal to know that this deal's too important to involve legal, so please stay away from legal as much as possible. Do not get the lawyers involved. They will wreck everything because they need to justify their existence. If you're a law firm, hi, I do work with law firms, but please understand that, oh my God. So try not to involve legal if you possibly can. All right. And then you've got the end users who might need to be the people that you're working with directly, but then they're not going to be involved at all. But here's the thing, all of those people are the visible people, kind of, even if you never meet them, that have to say yes to the deal. But the people who can ruin the deal that you never talk to, you never hear about. It might be the person who landed the previous solution that's no longer working for the company that still feels emotionally connected to that solution, who hates the idea that we're changing service providers or whatever. That person is working night and day, nonstop, to make sure you never get hired. So it's not just the people that can sign the deal that you need to worry about. You also need to map everybody involved with the deal who can veto the deal with you. That you have to know who they are, what they care about, and why they might try to torpedo the opportunity for you. So you need to map that web work of relationships. And I actually have a whole GPT that helps you do that and to know the right questions. And after like the fifth deal ghosts you and you have no clue why, you're gonna want that. So that's in the group. Okay. So you now understand everything about their situation, their problem. Now it's time for you to fully demonstrate that you understand what's going on. Okay. So this is 20, 25 to 30 minutes into the conversation, and they've been talking nonstop, and you've been encouraging them with, well, how have you dealt with this other thing? And they go, oh my God, I got to tell you about that. So you've been yes anding, and they finally open up because you understand it so well. And finally, oh, now I can share all this stuff with somebody who gets it because this person doesn't understand it. This person doesn't understand how difficult this is for me. Okay. So now that you're on their side, they're going to give you everything. You're not going to have to poke and prod. They're going to give you everything. Okay. And since 95% of it is stuff that you've heard from people before, you don't really need to remember much. which frees your brain up to remember grandpa's name 1970, 1954, or whatever, and then dad's name 1976. And so then, without looking at notes, without using an AI generated summary or whatever, you can just full on close your eyes and be like, okay, I think I've got a good picture of what's going on. Let me see if I've got this straight. Then you can close your eyes and then just say what you've heard. So your dad, Carl, started this business in 1954 from 20 bucks in his pocket and he land okay. And then you just go through the whole thing in like 2, 3 minutes. And blah 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 blah. And that's why we're on the call here, right? The magic words you're listening for are I couldn't have said it any better myself. Oh my goodness, you get it. Wow, nobody's understood it that well before. How did you do that? Okay. So the problem here for most salespeople is that they skip the here's what I heard part and they go straight to I understand. You don't just say you understand. Show them you understand by communicating what it is you understood that they told you. You cannot skip this recap part of here's what you're dealing with, here's what's frustrating, here's what you've tried, here's why it doesn't work. What you're doing is explaining their worldview from inside their worldview better than they can to demonstrate, I understand you. I get it. I don't just say I understand you, I can tell you how I understand you. And they're completely overwhelmed that, oh my God, this is incredible. Wow, amazing. Yes, I want to hire you just because you could tell me all that stuff off the top of your head. And you go, yeah, I'm cursed with the ability to pay attention. I get it, right? Now, you've heard, you've understood, you've communicated, I understand. And they're going to go, oh my God, that's incredible. Now you have a decision to make. At this point, because you understand everything that they've told you, you understand whether or not they're a good client for you. You might understand perfectly that they don't have the problem you solve. And if you can't solve it, you should not take their money because you can't solve it, and that's called fraud. So don't do that. You might be able to solve it, but they don't have the budget. Oh, we're expecting to solve this multi-million dollar problem with 50 bucks and some duct tape. You go, I can't help you. Or you know that there are too many red flags, that they're cantankerous, they've been fighting you on all sorts of stuff. Like you go, I can't imagine a future where I would like to work with this person. So they've got the problem, they've got the budget. I don't want to work with them. Whatever reason, you are the one who decides whether the conversation keeps going or not. So it's an invisible gate. It's an invisible decision. They don't know you're making it. All right. Because if you've done good marketing, then most of the people you talk to are qualified to work with you. And then you're having this conversation in the sales chat to figure out whether or not you want to and they can. Okay. So rarely are you going to get to the decision point and have to kick them out. But we're not just going to end the call. Thank you very much. Boom, done. You want to be graceful about this because they might have friends or colleagues who are better suited to be clients of yours. Okay. So you go, here's everything I heard, blah, 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 blah. How did I do? And they go, oh my God, you get it. That's amazing. I've never, blah, blah. Okay. Right. So you understand that situation. And then you go, based on all of that, I'm not actually going to be the best person for you because insert reason here. Because I don't specialize in this challenge, I've tried before and it really is not my strong suit. Here's who you actually want to talk to. I will get you connected and he's going to be a perfect fit for you. I already know it. So I don't ever want to just end the call, even though I have, but it was because the founder was super rude. Why would I waste my time talking? I was like, okay, then we're out. Um, but you want a graceful handoff here. Okay. You want to be able to recommend this to somebody. And it might be a budget thing. You're like, oh, you only have $1,000 to do this. And I've got a colleague who loves these kinds of deals and he eats them up for breakfast. Cool. There you go. I only work with these projects and above because of whatever, right? So be graceful about it. Hand them off. But for the most part, you're going to go, yes, they are qualified for all three. Let's keep this conversation going. Here's how you do it. And then they go, oh my God, you've understood better than anybody. And you go, yeah, based on all of that, I am 1,000% convinced that I can help you solve this. What do you want to know? Okay. Here's where that's different from most people doing sales advice, which is, okay, at the point where you understand everything going on, this is the time to pitch. No, don't pitch. Do not pitch. Do not collect $200. Do not pass go. Stop it. Why? This is not the time to talk about your solution, your program, your anything, okay? Because you think this is the time to talk about your service and here's how I do this. We start with this and then we do that. They don't care yet, okay? Because they've got deep-seated concerns that this isn't going to work for some reason. But you don't know what those concerns are, okay? So you could talk for another 20 minutes about how great you are and the process and the blah, 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 blah. And what have you not done? You haven't addressed their deepest, darkest concern about why this isn't going to work. So you could be perfect, but you haven't addressed their misconception about why it's not going to work. And you've wasted the opportunity to address that concern because you didn't include it in your, here's what I see at this point spiel. Okay. That's why this is the magic phrase. So you've just demonstrated that you understand them better than anybody else on planet Earth. And you say, I'm 1,000% convinced that I can help you and we'll get this done in time frame here. Okay. And they're going to go, hallelujah, finally. Yes. But I'm wondering, that's why you say, I'm convinced I can help you. What do you need to know? And what are they going to ask you about? Could you help clarify this confusion I have about why you're not the perfect person? And you go, you know what? That is a common thing. And here's how I address that. And here's why that's not a worry. And they go, oh, thank goodness that's not a real deal. Okay, woof. I was worried that might be the situation. I was worried that I might not be able to call you. I was worried that I might not be able to do a round of revision. I was worried. In the traditional sales world, these are called objections. I hate the word objection because what you do is not objectionable. You are not taking money from people to solve problems you can't solve. You are not stealing. You are not lying. You're not cheating them. You are solving valuable problems and you make their life better. That is not objectionable. If you help people, you have a moral obligation to help them. Sales is a moral obligation to help the right person hire the right person. That's you to solve their issue because if you don't do this, then you're going to let them go talk to somebody who doesn't have that moral reservation, who doesn't feel bad about taking money to not solve problems. So you being bad at sales means you're letting them stay stuck dealing with that problem. Okay? So you are not doing anything objectionable. You're making the world a better place, and that's your job. Okay? So you're not handling an objection. They're not objecting to working with you. They're desperate to work with you. They just don't understand why this is not an issue because from where I'm sitting, my lack of context and experience working with you, I can't imagine this isn't a problem. Like, help me understand. So they're trying to work with you. they're bringing up, well, my deepest seated concern about why this would fail is this. Please help me believe that that's not true. And you go, good news, it's not true. Here's why, right? So you've just addressed their concern or their misconception or their confusion about what does this mean? What does that mean? And when you're asking them, so what do you want to know about? The thing they're going to ask first is the biggest objection. So you're not dealing with objections. You're not trying to do gotchas. You're not trying to push for the close. You're clearing the way for them to want to work with you. That's why you're never going to have to handle an objection ever again. Now, you should have tight answers to this question, that question, this objection. We'll call it objection just so that we understand what we're talking about here. So you should have tight answers to those objections. If you've been in business longer than 5 minutes, if you've helped more than one person, you're going to be hearing the same objections again and again and again. And you shouldn't leave the most important part, which is this is where the deal could fall apart because you didn't help them understand. You just confused them more and they're like, I don't know, it feels risky. And then they don't hire you. They hire the other guy who's more certain. Okay. So you should have tightly scripted answers to these objections that don't sound scripted. Now, I've worked with thousands of founders, owners, people for their public speaking. Did you know that I've done 15,000 shows at Universal Studios and around the world? Yeah. So I love presentation skills and doing all that kind of training, communication stuff. Nobody that didn't want to sound scripted was worse off because they practiced more. The fact that you sound scripted means you didn't practice enough. You need to be able to hear it in your bones, right? In your dreams, and have said it 1,000 times already. So now you can say it casually. All right. The fact that I don't want to sound scripted, so that means I don't need to practice my script, means you're leaving it up to chance that you're going to make up the best response. Good luck. Enjoy losing deals. So, the most important parts, you should have the best answers to it and practice it enough that you could say it like it's the first time you've ever said it. And the hardest part of doing that is shutting up while they're asking the question. And since you've done this 1,000 times, you've heard exactly this question 1,000 times already. And then, at least my tendency was to jump in and go, oh, yeah, I know what you're asking about. And here's why it's not a problem. Well, that's not cool because you didn't hear them out. They can't possibly imagine you knew what it was that they were going to say. Even though they're using exactly the same words to ask exactly the same question that 50 people just this week have asked. They, People are so wrapped up in their own experience that they think they're the only person who could experience this. It's super bizarre to somebody to understand that they're exactly the same as everybody else with this problem. Like that just breaks their brain. So, from their side of the equation, you cut them off, you didn't let me finish, and you're talking about something that has nothing to do with this, even though it's the perfect answer to that question. So, shut up, let them voice their entire concern, and then you go, and is this also part of that too? And they go, yeah. So you're re-demonstrating that, yeah, no, I'm not worried about this objection. And in fact, I'm happy that you're asking about it because that shows me that you're thinking through things. And our best clients have all asked that exact same question. Okay, so it's actually not a problem. It's not a squishy thing that I feel weird about addressing. I thank you for that. All right. That is way different from, oh, I really hope they don't ask me about this thing. So whatever their objection or question is that you hope they don't ask you about, that's the thing that you should probably work on your answers. Okay. So that's how you handle all the objections because you just keep asking questions. So what else do you need to know? And eventually, they're going to ask you about money, okay? And at enterprise level deals, you don't know yet, okay? Because there's still a lot you need to find out. I need to get access to your records. You need to get me the things so I can crunch numbers to see just how big a project this is. So when they're going to ask you budget, you're going to go, well, that's actually part of what I want to do. Now that I understand your situation, I want to spend a little bit of time putting together a plan, kind of like I know where you are, I know where you want to be. And in your specific situation, there's some things that I want to go get the real answers to instead of just making something up. So, how about I go figure that out, put it all together, and then show it to you, what, in 2 days? I think I'd have enough time to put that together in 2 days. Also, is do you want it to be just you, or do you want to invite everybody and their mom to be a part of this, and then we can just all go through it? Because, man, it's gonna be a lot, and for me to just hand this to you and then have you present it on the inside, oh, man, that's gonna be a lot of work for you. So, I wanna make this easy. Just get everybody in. I'll do my little dog and pony show, and then we'll have some real numbers to talk about. So, that sound good? Cool. Well, 2 days from now, I've got the morning open, so is like 9 or 11 better for you? 11? Okay, cool. Well, here, I'm putting it on the calendar now. It should hit your inbox. You see it? No? It got your spam folder's hungry and probably ate it. So dig through there, find it. Yeah, okay. Click on that. It'll confirm. Oh, yep, I just saw it confirm. So cool. Feel free to add anybody else to that meeting that you want. It's going to be the same link, whatever. And then I'll see you there. And I will bring this, this, and this. But is there anything else that we didn't cover that you still like? Oh, yeah, we should talk about this? No? Okay, cool. Well, I'll see you there. Looking forward to meeting the team, and I'll talk to you then. And you end the call. Okay. What did you do? You scheduled the next meeting in this meeting. You don't just leave them going there. But here's what you're also doing. You are providing something valuable, which incentivizes them to show up to the presentation because you're going to build something specific for them. Now, maybe you do, maybe you don't. Maybe you understand perfectly and you don't need to look anything up. But again, in enterprise level stuff, you're going to need to find stuff and put things together because they're going to ask you ridiculous questions like, what is my ROI going to be? I've never done paid ads, but what's the cost per click for don't like dog toenail clipping? And you're like, I don't know, man. I'm going to have to go figure that out. Um, so here's what would happen, okay? A lot of times people would want to share the solution on that call to demonstrate here's how much I know, but the prospect would see how fast you could do it, and people are still wired for time and effort equals value, which is kind of like a commie math. It's not how much effort it takes me to do it. It's how valuable is solving this problem to you that matters. So, why is me being able to do this faster worth less to you when I can get you back on track faster and you spend less time? So, it doesn't work to show how smart you are in real time because it took you 2 seconds to do that. There's no way that's worth $10,000 a month. It just took you no time. And especially in this world of AI, it's all just AI generated crap anyway. So, we were losing deals to people who were doing automated reports that looked custom that they took a day to get to the person because it took a day to create this instead of I pushed a button, waited a day, then sent it to you so that your brain fills in. This took me a day to assemble and I just got it together and now I'm sending it to you. So time equals more valuable. I'm going to spend a couple of days finding the right answer for you, putting it together into a presentation, and then walk you through what I found. So the presentation is going to be the presentation of the solution. You're not going to solve the problem for them. And we're getting now into the presentation call, but I want to talk about wrapping up the sales call. You want to leave them understanding that I'm going to really need to show up to this presentation because they're not showing up for you to say, here's how much money you pay me. They're going to show up to see the solution to their problem that they've been dealing with for 6 months or 2 years or whatever. I'm desperate to find this information. Okay. Cool. They're going to show up. They're going to be here at that meeting because, again, we're not just talking packages. We're not talking tiers. We're not talking levels. Here's your situation, what you're dealing with, and what it's going to take to solve it. You're never going to have to worry about this ever again, and I'm going to show you why. Hell yeah, I'm going to show up to that meeting. Yes. Cool. So you want everybody in on that call as much as possible. Okay. So what do you do in the time between now and the presentation? Okay. Well, you download the transcript, put it in ChatGPT, Cloud Code, whatever, and ask it what are the three biggest fears that they've got about why this won't work or what they're losing out of having this problem. These are the emotional levers that they're pulling themselves to want to make a decision. Okay. Now, there's this weird thing. Okay. So you're going to take this conversation where they've given you everything. And a lot of this that they've given you is going to make it into the presentation, but it's not going to be most valuable until the negotiation about the solution. Okay. So in the discovery call, you discovered the one big thing that's going to make all the difference, but you're not going to bring it up in the presentation. You're going to bring it up when they are going, I don't know about this. And you go, Steve, you've been in this situation multiple times, and this is the time where you're going to do it different this time. They're like, oh, yeah, you're right. Okay. So that's jumping ahead to negotiation. But for the presentation, it's Ekman's Atlas of Human Emotions, and there are basically 5 core human emotions, whatever they are. It's like disgust, revulsion, anger, envy, and happiness. Okay, I'm amazed I remembered those off the top of my head. Look at the distribution here. There are 4 aversion based, I want away from this kind of emotions. I hate this. I do not enjoy it. This is negative. And 1 positive, I do like this and I would like more of it. We are 4-to-1 times wired for negative emotions. Okay? Like, that's why if you look at the research, people are like, we're loss aversion creatures. Losing $1 feels 4 times worse than getting $1. So people are more invested in keeping what they already have than gaining something they don't. Because losing what I have feels worse than getting something I don't have. Okay. That would lead you to believe to zone in on the pain and kick that pain and ratchet that pain and oh, you're at a 4 out of a 10 scale. I'm going to need it to an 8 to a 9 before you decide to buy. Yes, that works. You're going to work that into your presentation. But weirdly, the best clients that will pay you the most are those weirdos that are wired for opportunity. Look at this opportunity. Look at everything that you could get from this. You're missing out on this opportunity, and this is entirely possible. You've been here, you've been dealing with this, you've been frustrated with this for so long. You won't let yourself hope and dream that this is possible, but I'm telling you from my experience working with people in exactly your situation, exactly what you got going on at exactly this level, we've not only taken here to the promised land that you think is impossible, we've done more than that, but it's hard for you to let yourself hope that that's true. So I won't even talk to you about how amazing this is. I just want to let you know that this is not just possible, it's not just probable. I know for a fact I can make that happen for you. So that kind of possibility focused presentation is going to do more for you than this sucks, you're screwed here, this is busted, you've been missing this as well, and now you're just kind of a doom and gloom kind of person, okay? So, you you might need to put together the solution for the presentation, but you don't actually have to solve the problem. And you don't have to show them how you're going to solve the problem. You have to show them the plan to build the solution to solve their problem. And that'll make more sense as we go through this. But here's how you build your presentation. Because, okay, you're on the presentation call. You were not going to email this and let me check it out before the call because they're going to experience it out of context. So you need to present it in the proper order. That's the most compelling way to present it. And your presentation, like the document, the slides, or the PDF, or however you do this, is really two things at one, and they're completely at odds with each other, which is the first time they experience it and the multiple times they're going to mull it over and review it and look at it. Okay. I'm doing that in this presentation. Okay. So say you've been watching this and you go, you know what? Screw it. I don't even care about the rest of this. I know he's my guy. I want to book him to come in to talk to my sales team. Well, you might have decided that at minute 37, and we're at minute whatever this is. Or who knows how long this goes. If I waited to put it at the end, you may not know it's at the end because you haven't seen it yet, and you're like, how do I get in touch with this dude? So I put it at like the first minute or two so that oh, I could join oh, okay, cool, that's it. So there's the presentation as they're going to experience it the first time to help them understand and make the right decision, and then they're going to review the document for details, legal, present it to Steve or whatever. Okay. So you build the document for the reviewing, but you present it out of sequence for how you've built it, but it's in sequence to help them understand it the best. And I'll get through what that is. Okay. So you're on the call, and now there are multiple people in the Zoom with you. And ostensibly, one of these people you've met before, you've had a great conversation, that's cool. And now there are new people. Okay. Amateur mistake is, well, now that we're all here, let's just dive in and I'll start the presentation and blah, 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 blah. Nope. Weirdly, you're going to have a mini discovery call with every single person that's in that room. You need to know why they're spending their valuable time with you right now. Every single person here wants something different from you. They're going to need to see something different in order for you to clear up their miscommunication or misunderstanding about why you're not the best person for the job. Okay? So, looks like we're all here. We'll get started, dive in. I see a lot of new faces here. I know, Eric, we got to talk and dive in, but I haven't gotten to speak with you and you and you. So, you know what? I could talk for hours and I'm really good at it and I love it and still not touch anything that you want to see. So, I want to know who you are, why you're here, and what you need from me to make a good decision about how this thing goes. So, I'll start with you, Tim. And then Tim's like, "Well, I'm CEO. I'm passionate about making an impact on society, and I think renewable shopping bags is the best way to do that." So You go, okay, so you want to be able to reach more people and change more lives. And he goes, yeah, that's what I need to be able to see. Okay, cool. I got that. That's page number 7. I'll make sure that we spend some time on that. How about you, Erica? Okay, cool. Oh, so you want to make sure the numbers work. So your CFO got it. Yeah. I've got a whole thing. I'm going to get this to you so you can like really look over the numbers. But I do have a spreadsheet. It's in the appendix. It's Appendix B. So when I give this over to you guys at the end here, that's where you're going to want to go. Who's next? All right. So you have that. Who are you? What do you need from me, and why? So that I understand how to give it to you. Little mini meeting with every single person because you're being a gracious host. Hi, what are you here for? Can I get it to you? Cool. Right. Because you don't want to do the whole presentation, miss those things, and then they go, he didn't even talk about the return on investment. How can we give him money? You don't want to do that. You're basically what you're doing is saying, "Hey, how do I win with you?" All right? Like, what do you need to see to say yes, and I want to give it to you. Let's make it easy. But when you're like, what do you need to see to make the best decision? Of course, the best decision is to hire me. You just don't know that yet. So, what do you need to see for me to make that decision? Then they're going to be like, well, you can change my mind by doing this. And you're like, I can do that. Look at me do it. And they're going, okay, change my mind. Great. You haven't even gotten into the presentation yet, but you know your presentation inside and out. And that's why you can say, oh, yeah, we'll do that. I'll make sure to put time on the clock for that. Cool. Okay. So now I know what everybody wants. We're all here. Cool. If you don't mind, we'll just get into it. Great. There's the title card for them, not your company. This is for you. You. You don't care about my company. You care about your company. So this is for you. All right. First thing, executive summary. Here's what you got going on. Here's where you'd like to be, and here's the general picture on how we're going to make that happen. Do not skip this step. Okay? Everybody has to agree what we're here to talk about. Because here's what happens if you don't do this. Again, you go through the whole presentation and then somebody torpedoes it with a stupid question like, I didn't see anything about leverage and quarter 3 stuff. Now, in your mind, quarter 3 is a phase 3 thing because before we could even talk about phase 3, we've got to make sure that we button up this in phase 1. Then we got to knock it out of the park with phase 2, which might go this way, which means we're going to have to deal with that at phase 3 instead of this. So that's insane. Doesn't make sense until all this is buttoned up. Like, isn't it obvious to you? No, it's not. So that's why the executive summary, we are here to talk about this, this, and this. Anything else is downstream from that, which doesn't make sense to talk about until we all agree about this. You want to constrain it to these topics and these details about the next steps of working together. Okay, because it doesn't make sense to lose a deal because you didn't talk about stuff that doesn't matter. And this is the time to say, we are here to talk about this, only this. We're not going to spend any time talking about anything other than this. And if you think it's important, here's why it's not. Anybody object to this? Anybody not understand why this is just what we're here to talk about? Yeah? No? Okay, cool. Now, when somebody tries to blow up the deal later by bringing something up that has nothing to do with anything, you can go, that's not this for these reasons, and you can see why that's a completely different issue. And if you do want to talk about that, that changes the scope, but we can solve this issue without ever having to touch that. We're not going to talk about it. That's what you're saying, but in like nicer terms, because that's not this. You have to do this. I cannot tell you how many times you're going to lose business because somebody steps on that landmine or brings it up right before signing, oh, we didn't talk about the thing. And everybody goes, oh, yeah, that's the thing. Don't do that. Here's what we're talking about and why, based on everything that Tim told me about, blah, 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 blah. Yes, everybody has to buy in and say yes. Otherwise, you can't talk about anything else because that means that they still want to talk about crap that doesn't matter. So if you skip that step, you're going to lose business. So don't do it. All right. This is the limited scope of everything that we're talking about and why. This is what you're dealing with. This is why you're dealing with it. In their words, you're doing the recap that impressed your prospect with everybody in the room who hasn't met you yet. So everybody in the room is starting with, yeah, holy crap, this guy gets it. Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. Yeah. Oh yeah, and I didn't even think to mention that other thing. Man, you do. Yep. Okay. I am interested to hear what you have to say. That's how you want to start a presentation. Okay. Here's what you're dealing with. Here's why you're dealing with it in the words that you use to describe it, not how I would describe it. Here's why you're dealing with it. Here's what you've tried. Here's why it hasn't worked because you haven't hired me. And that's your situation. Yeah? Cool. Let's talk about how to get you there. At this point, most people jump to the solution. Here's package 1, package 2, package 3, done. No. At this point, you've told them, I understand your situation because here's how you describe it. But you know what? You don't understand your situation. And the presentation is not the presentation of the solution. It's presenting an accurate understanding of the challenges ahead of them or that they're currently facing accurately. Okay. You think it's this, you're dealing with this, and that's a big issue. That's really the cause of this issue. Here's what's really going on. Here's what you're really facing. You said we don't have enough customers because marketing pictures aren't good enough. But really, I did my homework. They look better than your competition. But I also found that your competition is outspending you by $50,000 every month. So the real challenge is that the $1,000 you think you need to invest per month is 2% of what it would actually need to be in order to even just meet your competition, let alone beat them. So you're having to communicate the reality of the challenge that they're in a way that they'll understand and go, holy crap, I had no clue it was this bad. And you go, yeah, I looked under the hood and you don't have no damn engine. Like, how did you get here? Was it just all downhill and gravity? Amazing. So you're showing them at the start that you understand the way they understand things. And then you're presenting an accurate view of the real challenge and how tough it's going to be to knock it out of the park so that they have an accurate understanding of what the solution would need to include and how big a project this is. And holy crap, okay, I now understand it's a big thing and it's not just flip a switch and we're done, right? Like that's all it has to be. Like this is easy for you, right? So you're presenting the real solution or the real situation. You cannot skip this. You can't skip this step. You need them to understand, oh yeah, you're right. This is really what's going on. Okay, wow. And these numbers are real. I'm like, I got them from you, man. Like this is yours. Yeah. Uh-huh. Oh my God. Okay. Wow. I'm going to need to sit with this. I'm like, I know it's a lot. It's a lot. But you know what? It's what I do. It's like, it's literally what I do. For I don't understand it, but I stay up late at night thinking about this stuff. Like I do this on the weekends already. Like this is what I love doing. We're all wired different, but you like making renewable bags. I love figuring out this stuff. Cool. So then once they see the real situation, they're going to be completely out of water. and they're going to see why the solution they imagined isn't going to work. Because I can't tell you how many times people are like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to put 500 bucks to ad spend for this." And you just run the numbers. You go, "Okay, cool. 500 bucks. Let's run the numbers." You're in HVAC. That's one of the most competitive industries possible for Google Ads. So you're going to need to pay 100 bucks per click. Your website converts at 1%. So in order to get one form filled, you need 100 people to go there. So 100 people to get one client. Well, and we're being generous saying that they get a client from that form fill because they close 20% of those form fills, so they need 5 times that much. But anyway, let's just make the math easy. 100 bucks per click. You need 100 people per client. Okay, that's $100,000. So you're telling me you want 300 clients per month. So you're going to need what, like $300 million or whatever, $30 million, wherever that decimal goes. You walk them through point by point. Here's why that's crazy. It's never going to work because here's the real situation. Here's really what people are bidding. Here's really what your website's doing. Here's all this stuff. So that's why the solution isn't to throw 500 bucks to ads. It's to fix your website so that it converts at 20%, which makes your ads 20%, 20 times more effective. So the real solution is this thing that you've never thought of because this isn't your world. This isn't what you stay awake thinking about. But that's the recommended solution. It addresses this, it addresses that. You'll never have to deal with this. This isn't an issue anymore because this makes sure it's never going to happen ever again. That's the real solution. That's really what it's going to take to get you where you want to go. Ironclad, airtight presentation. You thought it was this. I know you thought it was that. I understand you perfectly. You know I understand you perfectly. I also understand your situation better than you because here's really what's going on in the market with your competitors, with yourself. And if you want this outcome, here's exactly how we're going to make it happen step by step. And you can see it's not the 500 bucks you thought this was. And then they're like, oof, okay. What's the damage? All right, what am I going to need to pay you? You don't tell them yet. You're going to tell them, but don't tell them yet. Do not jump to packages. Do not jump to prices. You go, I want to cover everything so that we know what we're talking about here. Here's the trap you could fall into is believing they understand what you mean when you say white glove treatment. They're going to think, oh, that means he's going to email it to me fast. But in your head, it means I'm going to wake up. I'm going to herd the goats early. I'm going to shear the sheep. I'm going to hand knit a wool sweater. Then I'm going to send it Pony Express to show you how much I care. It will be hand delivered to you. But, and then they're going to be like, wow, I didn't know it was that involved. Okay, cool. Yes, I now understand why that's worth $1,000 when in my head, a $5 thing is white glove treatment. Because when you go, so yeah, the solution's going to be $1,000. And in their head, they're thinking, oh, this is a $5 solution. Like, yeah, sure, it's tough for me, but it's got to be easy for him. So it's $5. So you got to prevent that mismatch of expectations to real numbers. So you go, here's how we do this. I'm going to have an inside call with the team, going to huddle up. I'm going to explain everything that we've gone over, build stuff out. Then they're going to ask you for all those details that I didn't need, taking a peek from the outside. They're going to need access, logins, setting up the email address, all the admin stuff, the nuts and bolts to actually get the work done. That's when we do that. We manage all the passwords and everything. Then They're going to really look at your numbers and then build out based on real numbers. Here's really the keywords to focus on because we got a whole bunch that we could do, but I don't know if those are going to be the best for you. So the real answers are going to come. That's the most valuable thing that we do is to build your strategy and then work the strategy. So the first 2 weeks is going to be doing our homework from the inside, building out the strategy, presenting it to you guys, and nailing all that down so that we know which keywords to bid on, which ones to bid on later, where to allocate the ad spend and all that kind of stuff. Then once that strategy's laid out, then we build out those campaigns. Then we push them live, keep an eye on it. Um, we're not a set it and forget it template kind of thing where everybody gets the same thing because your situation's different from other people even in your industry. So it's a hands-on approach. We're not just outsourcing this to AI to let it hallucinate your budget into the ether. We're checking on it every day, guaranteed by people that don't have 200 clients. Like that's the model that everybody else is using. Like overwhelm the client managers and then only talk to the people that are pissed off. Like that's not how we do it. All right. So step by step, here's what all that involves. So for all of that, here's the setup. Here's ongoing. You're doing this much in ad spend. Here's how much you pay us to manage that ad spend, but we're never going to touch that. So here's what I recommend. I recommend this. I know you asked for that. This is really what I recommend based on your expectations, your needs, timelines. You're going to try to hit your deliverables. This is really the only way that we could make that happen. This is just here to fulfill the, hey, could you show me what this would look like too? But you're going to need to take this and this off the board. You're pre-negotiating, but they don't know that yet. But basically, the instant you present a number, you're into negotiation. Okay. But that's how you do the presentation. And then know that once you reveal the numbers, you can't add more value later because they're going to measure that number against their perception of how valuable that is. Okay, because there's those different levers, which is what it costs you to do what it is that you do. Then there's the price that you're asking them to pay, and hopefully the cost is lower than the price is for that you're asking them to pay you. Okay, and then value is what they dictate it means to them. So you're like, so I'm going to artisanally shear these sheep, and they're like, that's not valuable to me. I don't care. Right? Like, sure, it costs you a lot of time and effort and energy. You're put a high price on it, but it's not a valuable thing to them. So I don't care. Done. All right. So that's why you have to frame it as this is valuable to you because it eliminates this. We address that. That concern that you've got isn't a thing because of our system, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So then they're going, oh my God, this is the most valuable thing ever. I would willingly pay you $1 million because I can see why it's going to make me 100 million. This is, yep, you're selling money at a discount. I'm giving you $1 million. You're giving me back $100 million. Hell yeah, all day long. Let's go. Right. So that's how you present the solution within the context of the real problem they're facing. Now that they understand what that real problem is, they can appreciate why this super convoluted, involved solution is so valuable and expensive. Okay, so the price makes sense, but the value is stupid high. Oh my goodness. Yeah, even though your price is higher than the other guys, you've done a better job of showing me that it's more valuable to hire you because hiring the cheap guys will be more expensive in terms of time, frustration, lack of results, being right back in at square one where we are right now. Okay? So that's how you present. The instant you show them that number, you're now into negotiation. Rule number 1 of Negotiation Club: never negotiate against your own best interests. It is not your job to cut your throat to make the client happy. Your priority is you, your business, your coworkers, your employees, your family. Why in the world should I take money out of my kids' college fund just because you want to pay me less. How dare you? That's the vibe I want you to have, okay? Like on the inside, not necessarily outside. We're going to have a curiosity based negotiation approach. But that's the thing. Discounting is the stupidest, most awful way of trying to land business possible. Stop it, please. If you discount thinking, oh, if how about I knock out 20%, Bob? And that, okay, cool. There are like in low value, like online sales, you're like, oh, limited time only. I'm running a special for 50% off for this time. Okay, using that time pressure of, oh, you're going to lose money by not buying it now, that can work. And we can use that here in a bigger negotiation, but you don't have to give them a better price just because they asked for it. You would be amazed. Like if your main thing is to be like, yeah, let me talk to the sales manager. Let's see what we can do. And then you come back and like, good news, I took 20% off. If that's how you try to close business, you're going to be pleasantly surprised at how well this works. And you don't need to do this. Because you just be amazed at how many times where you go, that is the best we can do. And then the person goes, I had to ask. And you're like, that was it? Like that was the whole negotiation. They asked, I said no, and now they're going to pay me the full price. Yeah. Yeah. That's how it worked. You go, all right, you got this thing that needs to go up there. It weighs this much. It takes this much energy. So we could do this the slow way, or we could do it the fast way. It's the same amount of energy to get that work done. So pay me more to get it done faster, or pay me less and it'll take longer and you deal with the problem longer. Like it's just physics here. Okay. It's not what I want. This is just the reality we're dealing with. And here's what it takes to solve it. Do you want to solve quick or want to deal with this even longer? Okay, cool. So don't just compromise on price just because they asked. Okay? If they're like, that's not workable, you go, okay. I don't know what to tell you. Like, you paying me less is not workable. How does that feel? Okay. Like, they know that you are their best option because you did a good job of communicating that. And now you got to help them not mess it up. That's it. Okay. So there's kind of a matrix. If I had a whiteboard, this should probably be a whiteboard. That should be a whiteboard. Anyway, if I had a whiteboard, I'd draw it, and I'm not going to draw it here because hey, you're watching a free course on YouTube, and yeah, I know a lot of other people do fancy illustrations and stuff, but I just wanted this out into the world where you could make use of it. Use your imagination muscle. Here we go. Um, Negotiations are really a function of two things. What do I want most out of this? Do I want results or do I want to preserve the relationship? Okay. Am I willing to burn this relationship for high results? This is win lose. Okay. I win, you lose. If I want to preserve the relationship, but I don't want my results, money, I just lost and they won. Okay. If we both need to compromise, which is really just a fancy way of saying we both need to give up enough to where we're both equally miserable to feel like we got a good deal and I'm a tough negotiator. Okay, cool. That's lose lose. So we're both giving up results. We both feel bad about it. So we're burning the relationship in the first place. So that's lose lose. Okay. Where you want to be is up here. Negotiate in a way that preserves the future possibility of working together, maintaining a working relationship, while delivering massive results for them and getting massive results for you, getting paid. Okay. So that's the win win quadrant, right? How do you do that? It's actually win 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 because you want to make sure that your point of contact, the person on the inside, looks like $1,000,000 for hiring you. You want the company to win. You want the CEO to win. You want to win. Your kids win. Everybody wins. Yay. So when you're a good negotiator, everybody's better off having worked with you. Because now you're finding creative solutions to working together, not dickering about who pays who what or how much and am I getting a good deal. Okay. The second rule of negotiation club is to always ask why. You're asking for money off. Why? Is that like from top brass? Like you have to show that you got 20% off? Because, I'm not recording this right now. How about I just mark it up 20%, knock off 20%? We get paid what we know we need to get paid to accomplish the job. You look like $1 million because you're a tough negotiator and you got 20% off. Would that work? And they're like, yeah, cool, done. Or if they're like, no, because cash flow is an issue. We don't have that right now. We're tied up, but the settlement's going to come through and then we'll be cash flow positive. And you go, okay, cool. Well, how about we do the strategy, we build that out, then the settlement will come through, and then you could pay more on the back end, and then we'll start delivery at that point. Make sense? Yeah, actually that's great. Okay, cool. But what doesn't work is you're asking me to accept more risk of you not paying me while getting the high quality work for free. So the risk is all on me now that you're a good person and you're going to pay me on time. So I like you. I wouldn't be this far into a conversation if I didn't. But also, bills don't take promises. My kids are hungry for food, not promises. So here's how we need this at minimum with the promise of this more longer. You want to pay me less? Okay. You're going to pay me a year's worth all at once. What? That's so much. Yeah, I know. That's how crazy it is that you're asking me to to do work for you for free. Okay? Like that's bonkers. And they go, yeah, you're right. Okay. So you go either you pay me sooner, at which point you can pay me less, but all at once, or you're gonna pay me more every time more often because it's riskier. Oh, I don't want to do a 6 month contract. I want to do month to month. Okay, cool. I'm going to charge you 1/3 of a 6 month price every month. What? Yeah, I know. Because my profitability is calculated on long term relationships. And the fact that you're already thinking about exiting means it's a more risky proposition for me and my business to spend the time and energy working with somebody that doesn't want to work with us. You see how that is kind of a red flag to me? Oh, I didn't mean for it that way. And I'm like, yeah, but you're going to pay me more every month. Okay. So you aren't going to compromise on price. You are going to pull the lever of time or deliverables or lack of results. What part of this problem do you want me to not solve for you? Because you're asking me to move all this up there and you've got this much energy to work. This is how much energy it takes to move that. And now you're telling me you've got this much energy to move all of that. It's never going to work. It's just physics. So, what parts of this do you want me to take off to not get up there? Because this energy is not going to work for the project. What part of the project do you just not want to do? No, I want to do the whole thing. And you're like, okay, then you're going to pay for the whole thing. I don't understand why this is tough for you to understand, right? Like, it's a completely different angle than let's bicker about price and oh, you've priced in some margin, but I need to beat you up to feel good about. Like, no, I solved the problem. Here's here's what it takes to get me to solve that problem. And it's a no-brainer because you're dealing with this expensive problem and it's costing you more than the difference you're arguing over. So you've cost your business more in the time it has taken you to ask me to discount myself. How do you This is my favorite. How do you respond when your customers, your clients ask you for a better deal? Well, I gave it to them. And you're telling me you don't have money to solve your own business problems. Is that what you want me to do? Oh, yeah. This is again why you need video because negotiations get real tough and you're going to say some horrific things that are true to get across. Here's how insane that question is. Here's how ridiculous you sound running your business like that. You want me to run my business the way you run your business, which would mean I'm dealing with these problems and I wouldn't be able to help people. No, I refuse your invitation to install your problems in my business. Thanks, but no thanks. Get pay or get out. Again, we're not going to like do that literally. You do that with love. You help them understand. I'm just trying to communicate this to someone who might be you, who might feel weird about negotiating because I really do see this as a matter of life and death because this is how I spend my life. I've got one life, this one, and I don't want to spend it dealing with problems that somebody else wants me to have. Thanks. I create enough of my own problems. Thank you. I don't need to install yours in my business. Okay? So, all the reasons why they don't want to give you money are the reasons why you can't let them give you less money. Okay. So, either you pay you pay in total upfront, or you pay more over time, or you do it the way that we talk about it. Now, why do we not do work for free? Well, because this is something that the tarot card and palm readers have all known forever. If I could give you the world's best palm reading for free at a party and you go, "Oh, that was interesting," or you pay me $1,000 for that same reading, you're going to be $1,000 invested in paying attention, finding where it fits, finding the value in it, and going, "Oh my God, that was spectacular. That was amazing. Nobody's been able to understand me that well. Incredible." The amount that somebody pays you is literally the degree to which they are invested in putting your solutions into practice. If you're a coach, if you've been in the coaching industry, the coaching business, you know what I'm talking about. The number of clients who don't pay you, you provide free coaching, they don't do what you told them to do, they don't get the results, and then say, he wasn't a great coach. I'm not going to hire him because he didn't really do the job. So why would I pay him? It's the fact that they didn't pay you, that they didn't do the thing that you told them to do that would have gotten them the results they would have been super happy with. So don't do stuff for free. Okay. Um, Jonathan, why are you doing this video? Because a lot of companies have paid me a lot of money to run these workshops and 2-day workshops and do training and stuff. Like, I've gotten paid for this stuff. I'm desperate for you to put this into practice to get paid more, to find cooler, more valuable problems to solve, and then solve them together in the community. That's it. Okay. All right. So that's kind of negotiation, the big picture for negotiation. What's left? Well, follow up. Not everybody's going to sign on the dotted line. Let me think about it. I really do need to go talk to the board about this. That whole, "Oh, you're going to let your wife decide whether you," that's scumbag, douchebag tactics that we don't deal with here. At enterprise level, yeah, there's going to be a whole bunch of people involved in this party, and they don't operate at your timeline. They operate at their timeline. So, "Oh, it feels good. Yeah, I did a great presentation. They didn't balk at the price. They said they'd get back to me." And then crickets. And then they don't sign the document. You're watching the analytics on the presentation and they've opened it 24 times in the past 2 days. And why don't you just sign it already? Okay, so how do you do that? How do you just be like, "Why don't you just sign it already?" without doing that to them? Okay? Now, Their business is not paying you. Their business is running their business. Okay. So it's your job to get paid. They've got your money in their pocket and they got to hand it to you. All right. But that's their lowest priority. Giving other people money is like the worst thing ever. Remember, loss aversion creatures. We've got these monies. Even though we want to give these monies to this guy to get us more monies, still feels bad sending a check for this much. Holy crap. Okay. So here's the trick to follow up. First and foremost, you never talk about follow up. This is not follow up. Hi, I'm just following up. Did you get a chance to look at the. Hey, I saw that you've been looking at the presentation. Got any questions? Woof. Hey, I've been creeping and perving on your behavior on your own. I've been watching how you've been behaving. Feel how gross that is? Don't do it. So here's the way to think about it. Concerned grandma energy. Your safety, your well-being is so important to me that I'm willing to be a little bit cringe in order to keep tabs on how well you're doing. Thanks, Grandma. I'll let you know when I get home safe. Hey, Timmy, it's been a while. I think that you'd be home by now. I haven't heard from you. I'm concerned you're face down in a ditch somewhere, dead with the car on fire. Please tell me that's not the situation. That's the energy. You're not going to say stuff like that, but that's where it comes from. Okay. So you email the link to the presentation, the agreement, the sign the panda, like whatever. You email it on the call, right? Ideally. And you see it hit their inbox, that kind of thing. But sometimes they're just like, send it over. I got to bounce. Oh, great talk. I'll get to you. And then they leave. So you email it, seeing the tracking, you know they've looked at it. You know they've looked at it 24 times in the past 2 days, but they didn't tell you they got it. Now you've got an excuse to show up in their inbox or give them a call. And I do prefer giving them a call. I know. Oh, talking on the phone. Gross. Yeah. Nobody else is going to do it. So it's going to cut through the noise super easy. Everybody else wants their automated AI system to do it for them. Do the human to human thing and be surprised at how much business you get. Okay. So they didn't tell you they got the proposal. So you ask them, hey, this was way too important for me to assume that it got to you. I'm concerned that maybe the spam folder ate it. So I just wanted to double check that I wasn't hallucinating things, that I really did send it to you and that you really got it. You're going to get brownie points for caring enough to stay in touch and prioritize their ability to solve the problem. Not, hey, did you get my proposal so you could sign it yet? Did you get that thing that gets me paid yet? Hey, it's the end of the month and commission's going to be due soon. So would you sign it already? Wrong vibe. Wrong vibe. Hey, I'm really looking forward to solving all these issues for you guys. And I wanted to make sure that I didn't drop the ball. Did you get the thing? And then they go, oh, yeah, we got the thing. Oh, great. Whew. All right. Well, let me know what you need from me to sign and get started. I want to get your strategy nailed down. Always prioritizing their benefit over commission breath, right? So basically, with that concerned grandma energy, there are only 2 tracks that people are going to fall into. 2 tracks. These are the 2 follow-up tracks. And again, you're not following up. You are continuing the conversation. Continuing the conversation. That's all you're doing. You're not following up. You're not trying to close the deal. You're not trying to nudge it over the goal line. You are continuing the conversation. As long as they stay in conversation with you, the deal's still alive. Okay? What's worrisome is when they stop responding. That's the bummer. So, how do we balance, oh, it's dead and they just haven't told me yet, versus it's live and I don't know that it's still live? Okay, here are the two tracks. One is the nudge track. Second is the warmer track. Here's why. Nudge track. No good reason why they haven't signed yet. All signs point to we're working together. Let's get to it. Like, you got to sign, you got to pay me, then work can start. Why hasn't this happened? So, you are going to nudge this across the finish line by providing more and more stuff that they need to justify the yes. Hey, I remember from a couple calls back you were wondering about our experience in this industry, and I talked with the team and put together a couple case studies here for you, and I thought that was this would be useful for you. Show that around. Let me know what questions people have, and then I'll be able to get you whatever else you need. So yeah, just let me know what that is. Leave that voicemail, and then send that email. Hey, just left you a voicemail, but also in case you're like me and you never listen to them. But you know what? You still got credit for calling, even though they ignored it. They're never going to read the transcript of it, but you still get credit for going above and beyond. Of he called. Nobody ever calls anymore. That's amazing. Okay, cool. Then you email. Hey, I left you a voicemail, but solving this is too important for me to assume that you're listening to it. So I want to cover my bases and get this to you by email too. So give it a look, and I will ping you Friday or whatever that time frame is. Tell them when you're going to talk to them again so that you're not wondering, is it okay if I talk to them again? Am I bothering them? Is this weird? No, you're going to hear from me on Friday. I'll call you in the afternoon. It's promises made and promises kept. You say you're going to do the thing, then you do the thing. Even if they don't respond, they recognize that you did what it is that you said that you would do, and you get brownie points for that. I'm going to send this to you. Boom, you sent it. I'm going to call you about this in 2 days. I want to give you time to look it over. And then when I'm back in the saddle on Friday, I'm going to give you a call before the weekend sneaks up on me. You call them on Friday. So you're saying what you're going to do, then you do it, and then they're happy you did it. You never have to worry, am I bothering them? Is this too much? No. What what's happening when somebody doesn't sign right away? Again, is this is important, but so is putting out this fire. So what they're doing is they're out you are now their unpaid secretary and administrative assistant whose sole job is to keep this on their calendar. They're outsourcing their "I'll check this later" to you, knowing that it's gonna keep hitting my inbox, and then when the time is right and it hits my inbox, then I'll check it out and then I'll sign. But I don't have to go digging. They're not consciously saying that, but that's what they're doing. You're now their administrative assistant for this project. Okay, so that's why they know you're going to stay on top of it, and I don't need to. So you need to be able to stay on top of it without getting pissy about it. Hey, I haven't heard from you in a while. You said you would call me and you didn't. So wondering where you are. That kind of breath is just going to kill the deal. Don't ever do that. Like, that's wrong vibe, wrong energy. That's why always channel concerned grandma. Hey, I was looking forward to hearing from you on Tuesday. Something must have came up, but I'm still wanting to get this going for you so that we can solve that problem, blah blah blah. Okay. So that's nudge. You're providing case studies, articles. Hey, this should help the other people that are in the way, not you. You're not the bottleneck here. It's somebody else you're waiting on. I know, but if it's this kind of thing, here will help clear that up, right? Okay, cool. So that's the nudge track. Second is warmer track. Due to some reason, maybe funding got yanked. Oh, we are in an ironclad contract, and trying to end it early would cost too much, that working with you would save it. So even though it's costing us to be with these guys, we're totally screwed because lawyers, we can't start until January. Okay. Yeah. All right. Fine. Now, A lot can happen between now and then. You are bonkers if you think you can just say, I'll talk to you in January and think everything's going to be fine. It's not going to be fine. Oh my God. What? No. There are so many different ways this can go wrong, right? That person could leave. This could happen. That could happen. So you know that you can't get the deal across the finish line because of real, like, it's never going to happen reason X. But you can't just set it, forget it, and come back and be like, time to pay me now, and expect it to go well. That's why it's a warmer track. You're keeping the relationship warm. You're staying in touch without being obnoxious about it, without stating, I'm staying in touch so that you can pay me when it's time to pay me. You're not doing that. It's concerned grandma energy. Hey, I saw this and it made me think of you because you were dealing with this thing. Or, hey, I saw this, made me think of you, made me laugh, and I thought you'd appreciate it. You're just blipping their inbox. You're being proactive about maintaining that human to human connection. Oh, yeah, yeah, and the deal, and yeah, okay, fine. But also, like, I'm staying in touch because I'm curious to know about now that rapport of where you grew up that came through in the conversations that you were having, not just tacked on the beginning of the discovery call. Now that stuff comes into play. Hey, you mentioned liking the Seahawks, and I saw blah blah. Now that rapport matters because they know how much you care about them enough to focus on them instead of your stuff. Okay, so you just keep it warm, and then you're just setting reminders of when to send stuff out, and that's it, right? And then it picks back up, and now it's nudge, and you're back into nudge track. But that's it, right? That's how you get paid. That's sales. Okay. There's a lot more that goes into this tone, scripting, the stuff, the shape of a conversation, and knowing when you're in the shapes and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot more that we could go over, but hopefully, like my dearest, deepest, most sincere hope is that you're still watching, and that you can use this to help more people and get paid real good to do it. And if you have any questions, put them in the comments section, or even better, come join the community. And I want to help you develop your sales skills, your presentation skills, your branding stuff so that people see you as the expert that you are. If you are professionally smart, you get paid for your smarts. You're a consultant. You help figure stuff out, or you're in a high paying job and the company and the brand is carrying a lot of the weight, and then you want to go independent and you're like, how do I even do that? That's the kind of person that I love helping and working with. Like, cool, come join the community. It's right there in the description, in the comments. But yeah, that's big picture. That's it. That's why sales is actually great. It's wonderful. It's helping the right people solve the right problems, in helping the right people do good work, because the work speaks for itself is the most expensive lie in the world for people like you and me who are phenomenal at what they do but might feel weird about telling the world about it. So don't let your aversion to sales rob you your bank account, your children's college fund, all that kind of fun stuff. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to hearing from you. And that's everything that I wanted to talk about, in a good 8-minute video. What is this? Almost 2 hours. Goodness gracious, golly me. Yeah, that's it. Go watch this other video for solving other challenges that people like us face, and I will see you there. The end. Over and out. Change your mind, change your life. Insert other tag here. I talked for 2 hours straight. No notes. Did you see any notes? No, it's not on the teleprompter. It's just I've done this so much that I know kind of what's in your head. You do the thing. You do the thing. So that's it. The end. Not even blooper reel. I'm leaving this in. I'm not going to cut it out. Anyway, I love you. Bye.